In this week's episode, I'm joined by founder of Alonuko, Gbemi Okunlola. In 2012, Gbemi founded Alonuko, a globally recognised women's fashion brand, celebrated for its iconic bridal designs, intricate embroideries and inclusivity. In this episode, Gbemi shares how her early passion for design evolved into founding Alonuko. She reflects on the value of in-person retail experiences and offers advice on building a global brand. Gbemi, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited for our conversation. So let's go right the way back to the beginning. Your fashion journey started really early. What was it that gave you the passion in the first place?
Thank you for having me, first of all. And what gave me the passion, I always say it's something that I just think was part of my DNA. I come from a very creative family. And my mum, she used to make dresses when I was younger. So I think I just picked up that gene, that creative gene from her. Naturally, I was quite an entrepreneurial person. So I was that person in secondary school that would sell like cookies and meal deals at break and lunchtime. And any way that I can find to make a bit of money, I would. And I combined my creativity with my entrepreneurial skill and began to make, well, I actually started by editing our school's uniform. So I was making our cardigans or jumpers into cardigans.
Okay.
Just thrifting up little things. I taught myself how to make dresses when I was 11, and I would apply that skill to pretty much anything I could. So what started off as just a little hobby, I started making dresses for people for like 15, 20 pounds, and then organically grew, started making more evening wear gowns for people until I finally decided to agree to making a wedding dress for a first customer, a second customer, my sister, and then building a whole bridal brand out of it.
Oh, wow. So how long ago then was that you made your very first bridal dress?
So that's 10 years ago now. So I made my first dress. So it was actually for a client who I was making her bridesmaids dresses, and she was so pleased about those that she was like, oh, surely you can make my wedding dress. And I was like, not quite the same thing, but I don't think so. She convinced me to do it, and I guess I like a challenge, so
Right.
I accepted it. And then in the process of making that dress, I got another inquiry from another bride who asked me to make her wedding dress, which I said okay to as well. Seeing as I was doing the first one, I was like, okay, let's see where we can go with this.
Yeah.
And then the following year, my sister was getting married, and she asked me to make her wedding dress. And again, I accepted it. And then from there, it's where it all really kicked off.
And did you kind of fall in love with bridal then?
I fell in love with bridal more because of the fact that it's something, making dresses for me was something that I've been passionate about, I've enjoyed. But with bridal, it's the one dress that women are super, super passionate about.
Yeah.
As women, we dress up for different occasions. You might have different events that you need to go to that require a gown of some sort, but no gown is going to compare to the gown that you wear on your wedding day. So I think it was that meeting of passion where it's like, I enjoy what I'm doing, I'm very passionate about it. You're of course passionate and excited about your wedding day. So it made it so much more worth it. And just knowing that I was able to contribute to such a big part of somebody's life made it so much more worth it for me. I think that element of it was what made it something that I decided I wanted to take a lot further.
Yeah, for sure. Enjoying that kind of exciting, special moment with the customer and knowing that you're creating basically their dream, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Bring their dream to life. So you started at 11. That's kind of when your sewing journey began. You have grown then to build the brand to be a global presence. What are some of the turning points along the way of turning your passion into this kind of huge brand?
So one of the key turning points for us was in COVID. That was when, shortly after we came out of COVID, we released the collection, the Freedom Collection. So that wasn't our first collection. I believe that was our third collection to date. And I designed the collection whilst we were on lockdown. Yeah. And when designing it, it wasn't a thing where I had said, we're going to release it on so-and-so day. I wasn't working towards a particular release date. It was just more, everyone was in lockdown. We were not going into the studio. Weddings were cancelled. There was a lot happening. So I had quite a bit of time on my hands. I mean, we still were working on brides' dresses because the hope was that when lockdown ends, your wedding is going to take place. Yeah. But it was very quiet. We couldn't go into the studio and create or produce. So at home, I was like, I've never been so free in like a long time. And it's nice to know that I can just literally creatively do what I want to do with no limitations. It's not like I'm working with someone to create their dress. I can literally just design whatever I want, whichever direction I'm led to design, I can. So I felt as though COVID was an interesting time for me because in the world, it was obviously a huge disaster. A lot of people were dying. It was a really sad time. But at the same time, I quite enjoyed the part of being at home with my family and just feeling like I'd never felt so free, even though we were locked down. Like, we weren't allowed to go out, we weren't allowed to socialize and stuff. Like, mentally, I felt quite free. So I just felt like my mind was very clear. And I started having dreams around that time of different styles and different dresses. So every dream that I'd have, I would just, as soon as I dream it, I'll make sure I design it so I don't forget it. Designed quite a number of dresses. And I just sort of kept it there, knowing that when we were allowed back out, it would be great to create these dresses. So once we were allowed to start going back to work, I began actually creating those dresses with my team. Took quite a while because, again, everything was still... I think this was around the time where some of us could come in or we would have to stagger the working hours because everyone wasn't allowed in the studio and stuff like that. But anyways, over the course of time, we completed the collection and then released it once COVID was over. Well, not over, but once lockdown was over. And that particular collection, it just went viral. Like, the intention wasn't for it to do that, but... there was a particular dress, it's the Look 11 from the Freedom collection that has the illusion bodice. And I think that just caught the attention of the whole internet. They were so amazed that we can create a fabric that blends so well with our skin and most importantly, so well with darker black, brown women's skin, because that's something that I found wasn't very available in stores. So it was something that we had worked on quite a lot to ensure that we can cater to a lot of underrepresented people. So that was quite a big turning point. And then off the back of that, we had a bride, Danielle Brooks, in America, who was getting married. She had seen that dress and was like, wow, like she hadn't seen anything like that in the stores. And she wanted us to create a dress for her. If I'm thinking back at the time, I believe her wedding was in January or so. And she had contacted us like 3 months before the wedding and was like, she needs this dress, but she wasn't sure. She hadn't confirmed the details. Eventually, I think it was 2 months that we had to make the dress. And I was just like, Jesus, this is short. Her being a celebrity, we were like, we don't want to work on a dress and there's issues with the dress and it's on the big screen and everyone's scrutinizing it, not knowing that we had such a short amount of time. Right. But we agreed to it. Again, one thing about me, I love a challenge. Sometimes I need to just relax because I do like a challenge, so we did it. And her wedding, that went viral as well. And I think because she's in America, we've got a very large following in America. So it really grabs the attention of many people there. Yeah. But I think specifically it was to do, number one, not only is she a black woman, but she's a darker skin shade black woman. So the fact that the illusion tool matched her, it was people were like, wow, how this hasn't been done before? And then on top of that, she's a plus size woman. So again, when you think about who you're used to seeing on the front cover of most magazines, it would most likely be maybe a size 6 white woman. And that was something that a lot of people were like, wow, this is literally beating the odds. But not only that, it helped a lot of people see themselves in the product and showed that, we cater to everybody. Yeah. It's not about us trying to make you look like this. It's about you're beautiful how you are. Yeah. And we genuinely create dresses for every woman. So I think that really spoke to a lot of people. Yeah. And I would say those are 2 moments that definitely were quite big moments for Alonuko. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I remember that dress because I was a big fan of Danielle Brooks from Orange is the New Black. And I remember seeing her wedding pictures and just being like, wow. I mean, it was really, and I mean, I'm not someone who really pays that much attention to celebrity weddings. So I remember, I think that, got to take credit. Was that from a dream, that dress? Was that a dress that you dreamt?
So that one, I didn't dream that specific dress. It was, she wanted FRE 11, which that was a dream. But then I was like, that's a collection dress, and you can of course order it straight from the collection.
Yeah.
But where we do bespoke dresses, wouldn't you want to consider the bespoke route? So that is something that's never been seen before, especially because the FRE 11 dress had gone viral a lot.
Right.
So she was like, okay, but she was finding it difficult to visualize what the bespoke version would look like. So I just had a consultation with her. We had a call, and I just asked her to explain, the kind of bride she wants to be, her personality, what things she's interested in, how she imagines herself being on the day. I took note of the descriptive words that she used, and I used that to go ahead and modify the FRE 11 dress into a style that would be her.
Yes.
And that's how we arrived at her style.
Yeah, amazing. I love, I'm so fascinated by all of this. I love the idea of dreaming of the dress and waking up and think, right, that's it, we've got to design it. Yeah. And I think that's it's such an amazing testament to your skill and to making the most out of that time in COVID and letting yourself be free to express yourself. And I always think with products, people often shy away from almost like creating the fullest expression of what they can do. And I think it sounds like that's what you did. You had the space to kind of really just, create your dream dresses, and that's what people responded to. And I think that's such an interesting concept. But and I want to bring back to something you mentioned there about people who are underrepresented in the bridal industry. So you made it a point to design for people who you maybe wouldn't normally see on, as you say, on the front cover of the magazine. How has that shaped your brand overall? And obviously it brought you customers like Danielle, but how else has it shaped the brand, would you say?
What it's done is it's made it so that people actually believe in our product and what we say we're going to do, as opposed to, you get in fashion, you get a lot of, brands who on the runway, they've got that one black model, they've got the one plus size model, and then the other 20 models are the typical standard, what we're used to seeing. And then when it comes to even purchasing the product, you find that, they do offer a size 20 or size 22, but does it fit the way it should? Have they considered the construction to ensure that, a size 20 person feels as beautiful and it looks as flattering as a size 8 person, for example? But with us, where this was part of the reason why taking the bridal route and doing made to order customized dresses was our key thing, because we found that the world is not, everyone is not the same. Everyone doesn't look exactly the same. So with this route, it allows us to be a lot more specific with the bride that we're working with. So when we say that our dresses are made to order, they are genuinely, we take your measurements, we make the dress specifically to you. If you choose that you want to order a standard size, you've got alteration options. If you decide that you want to go bespoke and not straight from the collection, you've got that option. So when everything that we say we do, we genuinely do. There's no shortcuts. And I think it's very obvious in the dresses that we make, in the brides that you see. So I think what it is that a lot of brides are able to really connect with what we say we offer, because that is genuinely what you'll experience when you shop Alonuko. It's not that we're advertising one thing and then when you come, you get a different experience. It's genuinely that, we say you get to have a dress that's made specifically for you and your measurements, and that is what you receive. We say that, you're going to have materials going to match your skin, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that it matches your skin. If you're shaped really curvy or really slim, regardless of however you feel that you look or don't want to look or do want to look, we're going to do everything to make it so that you feel and look that way. So where brides, it's arguably the day that you want to look the best, right? So it's like you are hyper-focused on just every single element, and so are we. So when you meet with us to get your dream dress created, you can be confident that we're paying attention to all those little details that, it might seem little, but in the grand scheme of things, you look back at your pictures and you want to feel like, okay, I made the right decision.
Big thanks to EDF's small business team for sponsoring this podcast. Powering the High Street, a bold new initiative from Enterprise Nation and EDF, has been designed to breathe life into the UK's high streets by supporting the next generation of retail entrepreneurs. Whether you're a seasoned shopkeeper or a digital business ready to make the leap to bricks and mortar, Powering the High Street is your gateway to making a meaningful retail impact. Explore the resources and get involved by visiting the hub now. Find more details at enterprisenation.com/powering the high street. That makes total sense. And you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk.
Exactly. Long and short. Yeah.
And so let's go back to that kind of idea of creating this special moment. So somebody's coming to you, it's the biggest day of their lives. They want to get ready. How are you creating a high touch luxury experience for your customers, both online, but also when they come to see you in person?
Yeah, of course. So we have our in-person online consultations, and then we also have our trunk show model. So they're slightly different. I'll explain them both. So with our in-person online consultations, we have our studio, which is based in Greenwich. Brides have the option to visit us in store. So one of the first things that we do is when you come in for your session, it's just you alone. So it's not the time is not shared with anyone. You've got the studio to yourself. You've got our customer service associate who will walk you through the full process. You get to try on the different dresses. You again, of course, have those options where you want to make customizations and changes to your style. And it's literally like the time that you're there that you've booked for, the focus is entirely on you.
Right.
So you can be confident that, we're working on you. It's not a thing where there's lots of different people and, we're trying to like fight for this style or whatever. It's very much focused on you. You're welcome to bring guests with you when you come for your consultation so that you can get sort of some input. We limit it to how many you can just so that you're not overwhelmed, because it can get a bit overwhelming. Everyone's like, no, not that one, no, this one. But overall, we try to make that experience as enjoyable and as personable to you as we can. And then again, throughout that process, so something that we also offer is a twirl. So a twirl is when we create a mock version of your dress before we make your real dress. And then when you do that, you come in for a fitting, which allows you to be able to see how the dress is going to fit on you before we go ahead and make the real dress, which means that towards the end of production, there shouldn't be need for too many alterations, which again ensures a perfect fit. Again, if you choose not to have the twirl, you can of course do standard size, but alterations are still available for you.
Right.
With our trunk show model, so a lot of our brides come from the States. We've got over 70% of our sales which come from the US.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of trunk shows in America. So literally we pretty much travel with all our stock, all our wedding dresses samples. We set up in beautiful hotels. We host appointments we usually host it over the weekend. We'll see between 40 to 50 brides in that period of time.
Wow.
And we literally imitate that same consultation process that we do in the UK, and we do the same thing in the States. Again, they've got all those options, because it was before we were doing our consultations virtually with our brides that are in America or wherever in the world. And it worked. But what we found was just with the increase of demand that was coming from the US, we just thought, you know what? There's nothing like being able to see what we want in real life, touching, feeling, trying it on. And where we saw that the demand was just increasing, we said, why not give them that same experience that our brides here are receiving? And it's worked so well. We're pretty much going near enough every month now.
Oh, wow.
So I actually go tomorrow to Houston. And and then again, throughout the process, you've got a designated customer service liaison who you can speak to, have any queries, questions, you want to make additions, take things away, you've got that option to do that. So we pretty much hold your hand throughout the entire process until you finally pick up your dress on completion.
And then with the twirls, do you have the twirl process with the trunk show people as well?
Yeah. So with our trunk show brides, they're also able to add twirls onto their service as well. And again, because of how frequently we go, they're able to try on their twirl, and the next trunk show, or however many trunk shows after, if they decide that they want to do the twirl virtually, we have quite a few partner tailors and seamstresses in America, so they're able to do the twirl with them, send it back to us, and then we continue the production here in the UK.
I see. Wow. So it's all about making them feel special.
Exactly.
And taking the time.
Yeah.
Not rushing them.
Exactly.
Have you had to experiment with how long the appointments are to kind of make people really feel like that?
Yeah, so initially, like when we first started, to be fair, when we first started, consultations were quite short, but this was because we had a lot less collections. So now we've got so many dresses for people to try on. Then there was a period of time where consultations could go on for about 4 hours, which didn't make any sense, because that means you can do like 2 appointments in a day.
Yeah.
And then it was like, you know, having a limit to how many dresses a bride can try on, finding what the reasonable medium is, working out how to put brides in enough dresses, but not make it so that they're spending literally 3 hours trying on dresses.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of tweaking throughout the years, but we've worked it out now in a way that it's like, you know, you're trying on enough dresses, we're also able to host enough appointments in a day, you feel comfortable, etc. So I think we've sort of figured it out.
And it sounds like, I think what's so fascinating about what you're talking about is it's a real reminder of just how important that physical touch and feel is. That yes, you can show people things online, you can have online consultations, but there's just nothing to replace that in person.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm all for, I think with the direction that the world is going, e-com, digital, all the options that are there, you know, we've got all these virtual AI routes where you can literally be standing in the products that you want to buy, which I think is absolutely incredible. I think technology has just advanced in a way that, you know, years ago we would never have expected. But in saying that, when it is a wedding dress, it is a bridal dress, you are spending a significant amount of money on it. There is that piece where, you know, you might want to touch, you might want to see. I think as our brand grows as well, we are seeing a lot more brides feeling comfortable not needing to see the product in real life.
Right.
But at the same time, imagination can take you so far. So I see the need for brides to touch, feel and see the products before they purchase it.
For sure. I suppose you're also probably getting a lot of word of mouth referrals as well, so they've seen their friends dress.
Yeah. So I think the more of that happens, the more confident brides are to make that purchase as well.
Yeah, for sure. So what's next?
So right now our main focus, or our biggest focus, is our global expansion. So as I mentioned, we are quite heavy in the States. Over 70% of our sales come from America. And we have constantly been going back and forth, doing our trunk shows in different states. So what we're working on right now is our presence in the States. So we've been, as I mentioned, we've done quite a few trunk shows this year. We've got a few more lined up till the end of the year. We're working on having a temporary space there in the early part of next year, with the plans to have a permanent space there towards the end of next year. And then we are also working on our evening wear range, which we'll be releasing. So we've spoken about this evening wear range so many times and dropped one thing and then dropped the other thing and had plans to expand, etc. But with the bridal being so demanding and growing a lot bigger than we had planned to initially, we wanted to focus on just making sure that we really did the work with that. But we're at a point now where, you know, there is the demand there and we want to make sure we can seize that.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Do you have any sort of dream celebrity clients?
It's such an interesting question. Every time I get asked this question, I'm always like, do I have a specific celebrity that I want in our clothes? Do you know what? Rihanna, she is somebody, I'm not necessarily, I'm not like a massive fangirl in terms of celebs, but I do like Rihanna's confidence.
Yes.
I love her confidence, her fashion sense. I think she's quite unique. She does what she wants to do in terms of what she wears. And I feel like the designing process with Rihanna would be fun.
Yeah.
Just because I can imagine the sort of creative input that she would have in getting the dress designed. And I feel like I would like to be a part of that.
Yeah, that does sound like a fun wedding to be part of. So last question then. So you've built a business, you're based in London, you had London at the heart of it, but you've got global reach. So if you were to give advice to someone who's looking to, who's maybe got a local brand or a brand based in the UK, but wants to get that kind of global reach or that global feel to their brand, do you have any advice about that?
I think first thing I would say is it's important to build strong at home. So as much as we are working on our global expansion now, building here in the UK was really important. So just doing as much as we felt we could do, reaching as many people as we could here. But even the fact that we still produce here in the UK. So whilst we speak about this global expansion, we still have plans to do production here at home. I think it's navigating multiple different locations. You're going to have to learn about, you know, how operations work over there, how logistics work over there. And recently I was having a conversation with my CFO, and I was saying that a lot of brands struggle to grow because you're spending a lot of time on the product, which is correct, but not enough time on the people and processes. And the processes part, that's something that we're working on now. You can make your product absolutely amazing. But if the process of, you know, getting that product out to your customer has not been refined and is not perfect, then you will lose business. You will, or you just won't grow at the rate that you would like to, because the process is so important. And that's something that, you know, we've spoken about global expansion, and our sort of growth into the States started about 3 years ago. And at that time, I remember being like, oh my gosh, yeah, we need to go to America now. There's so much demand. And if we don't go now, we're going to lose all the business. And had we gone then, I would have made the fool of myself, because what did I know? What did I know about the difference between that audience and the audience here? What did I know about just trading overseas? Not much. So I think it's important to learn as much as you can, even if it means hiring the right people so that they can do some of the legwork for you. But I think it's super important to understand what's happening on the ground first before you look at the idea of expanding elsewhere, because, you know, just what happens here is not always what happens everywhere else. And just taste is different. You know, the most popular dress that gets bought here in the UK is very different to the most popular dress that we sell in America, different to the popular dress that we sell in Nigeria or wherever. So you really have to learn about where you're trying to get to. Otherwise, you might end up spending a lot of money and time on mistakes that you could have avoided had you just got it right.
Yeah, for sure. Don't try and run before you can walk.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been absolutely fascinating to hear more about your story, and all the best for the future.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You've been watching the Small Business Retail Sessions podcast, brought to you by Enterprise Nations Powering the High Street Hub in collaboration with EDF Small Business. To learn more about the work EDF are doing to energise small businesses and how they can help you on your journey, head to enterprisenation.com/poweringthehighstreet. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.